Hi there, Taurus. Welcome to your July 2023 General Tarot Update. Or it's actually, I don't call them updates when they're for the month, but it's raining here. Well, I guess I shouldn't be surprised to see Pentacles come up here because you are Pentacles, you're Earth, earthy energy. So pick an additional card. Okay. Alrighty. As I have stated multiple times, this deck, which I think is called the Light Seers Tarot deck, when they talk about when they depict swords, and I don't know if this is every swords card, I should check, but I know some of the more challenging ones sometimes. Well, Six of Swords isn't that challenging, I don't think, but they depict it with black birds because the swords relate to air signs, and air signs connect with communication and thoughts. So the dark birds, the black birds, can represent negative thinking, negative speaking. Oh yeah, you have a few swords. So the heart of the matter is the Six of Swords. You're ruled by Venus, Taurus, and the number 6 is connected to Venus. And so therefore, regardless of what card you get, when you see 6, think of harmony, think of peace. And that's what this card represents, is choosing peace. You see that this woman is on a boat, so she's traveling, but she's traveling away from conflict. She's not immersing herself in any kind of drama. I was going to say she's running away from it, but I don't see it as escapism, somebody who's afraid or anything. I just see someone who is choosing peace in their life. Why do people choose peace in their life? Because they're trying to get away from conflict. They're trying to get away from negativity. In the past position, which could inform this choice, we have the Three of Swords. And this is a card of heartbreak. That's why there's a heart there. This is a card of the person who feels rejected. This can be a three-party situation, a third-party situation. So you find out that your partner is cheating. You find out that you're in a relationship where you are cheating and you didn't know it because the person that you fell in love with it just slipped their mind to tell you that they were married. Or maybe you entered knowing exactly what the deal was, but perhaps that person fudged on some facts. Maybe it was fake news that they were really getting divorced. Maybe they kind of mischaracterized their situation. Or I suppose in some cases you just decided that you would go for it regardless because you thought that that person would leave that other individual, and they haven't. Okay. Another thing that the Three of Swords can be is cutting something very cleanly. So I don't always think that the past position is something that has happened. I feel that it can be maybe an ongoing problem or situation or something that you're deliberating on. So maybe if you've been involved in a three-party situation, you have been contemplating just cutting it off altogether. Or if your partner is cheating on you, to leave that and never go back. Maybe you're on again, off again with that person. And the same thing with the central card. I don't believe that it's necessarily something that is currently happening or that will happen, but something that you may be wanting to happen. But in some cases, you may not know exactly how to go about doing it. You might be like, I really should relocate, because the Six of Swords can just be like, you want to relocate, but you may not feel like there's a viable way to do that at the moment. And if there's not, there's not. But that doesn't mean there won't be later on. So if you have the desire to move and you don't have the means to do so, continue to nurture your dream. That's what I would say. If this is something that would be a positive situation, obviously we can't run away from our problems. So sometimes people try geographical cures and they're not really going to do much of anything because the person isn't really committed to changing themselves or changing the outer conditions. And I'm not saying, if you move, you may improve your life to some degree. So who knows? Maybe it would be a good thing in certain circumstances, even if you did nothing else. But I'm talking about when people try to run away from their problems. That's what I feel like ultimately you have to face the music. And the higher message is the Queen of Pentacles. Isn't this I just think this is such a lovely card. I love her. I love her little headdress or whatever you want to call it. And I love the color of her turban, for lack of a better term. And that's like one of my favorite colors, and just the serene quality of this card. And that's what they're trying to represent because, like I said, you are Pentacles, you're Earth. And the green and the blue green represents the Earth element. And she even has her eyes closed because she is so serene. So this can be something to work towards if you want. Maybe you don't feel like you're there yet, but it can be like the kind of life that would maybe suit you best, because I see that she has this chair with a cushion on it, and yet it's outside. And Taurus people are very outdoorsy. And even if you're like the Taurus person who wants to just luxuriate or just like lounge around, you don't want to be necessarily doing something very vigorous. You still can, tap into that earth energy by connecting with the earth simply by, sitting and meditating outside. You don't have to do anything like hard work or anything. And so this is what I see too. If you're not dealing with a relationship issue, as I stated, this might have something to do with like work related, where maybe you had a major disappointment. The typical one that I can think of is getting passed over for a promotion. And so the Six of Swords is like leaving that behind, because maybe there are other reasons why it is so, negative of an environment to be in, that you don't need an excuse to leave. You can already leave. And the Queen of Pentacles can even be like, this is like being the queen of your castle. So maybe it can mean like, hey, if I leave, I'm going to get this exit package. And obviously every employer would have a different setup. For the people that have the means to do so right away, you may find that now you have time to kind of regroup, and you can actually enjoy the fruits of your labor by being able to be at home a lot more and feel that sense of serenity. Also, you may even start a home business, and then you can do things from home. So Queen of Pentacles, Queen being the mother ruling the fourth house of home and family, and then Pentacles being maybe money, how you earn your money, earning it from home. For some Taurus people that may feel like undesirable if you can't guarantee how much money you're going to make each week. You might feel like it's too unpredictable. But because Uranus is transiting your sign, you may be more open to not only not having everything guaranteed all the time, like riding the waves of surprise and sudden change, and, kind of like that sense of expansion that comes when you do things that you don't normally do. And on top of that, the idea of having technology play a bigger role in your life. I was going to say something. It's kind of, I mean, it's not totally random, but maybe you'd get a kick out of it. Like today, I went to this cafe that I frequent, and I'm so predictable. I have Taurus rising, that I'm pretty much getting the same latte flavor every day. And today, I did something completely different. And the barista that normally makes my drink was totally blown away by it, because I am so predictable that she has just started making the latte for me without even asking me first. So I threw her a bit of a curveball, and I feel so proud of myself. But so anyway, yeah, so that's very interesting. What crosses you is the Nine of Pentacles. So this when it's this has nothing to do with how I pick the card, but I'm reading it as a challenge position. So the Nine of Pentacles in in a challenging way can be not having financial independence. So if you have, like, for instance, if you are married and you have a partner who is cheating on you, you may feel like you have to stay because you cannot live on the money that you earn, or at least you don't think you can. Also, in the workplace, you may feel like you can't just chill at home because you don't have any padding, or you don't feel like you have enough. Now, I do feel that with a lot of Taurians, you may actually have what you claim you don't have. You may have enough. Now, you may have to change your attitude about what it is that you need. But I just want to remind you something about something. If you are being degraded by having somebody cheating on you, and you're like this person in this card, I mean, if this is, I really find this to be a very unpleasant drawing or illustration, because it's so, you can feel the pain like jumping off of this card. If you're in that situation where somebody's doing that, and yet you're allowing money to be your God and to be the number one concern, because you live in a really nice house and then you would have to live in a studio apartment, I want you to really think about that, because your emotional well-being is not incidental. And I really feel that when people choose themselves and choose self-love, that they will land on their feet. Obviously there are no guarantees in life, but it seems to me that sometimes people are way too willing to allow money to be their guidance system rather than their own well-being. So something like that. And same thing with the workplace, because I feel like if somebody gets passed over for a promotion that they truly feel that they have deserved, that there's something probably more going on, and it might be behind the scenes. There might be some preferential treatment going on that is totally unfair to you. And you may not be able to do much about that, even if you were file some kind of a lawsuit or some kind of a, thing with your human resources. It would be probably a very toxic situation to actually, even if you won, it would be kind of like icky to go in every day. So it's like you have to decide how you're going to navigate these situations. And if that is true, that you don't have the financial means to change the situation, like the Six of Swords suggests, then you can always formulate a game plan. That's the beauty part of life. And if you're the kind of Taurus who engages in a lot of retail therapy, that's another thing to consider, because when somebody's unhappy, they may, like a Taurus person would tend to buy things to try to make up for their emotional emptiness. And obviously it doesn't work, because not only does it not fill you up emotionally, but then your bank account becomes empty. So just, think about some of that. What's coming in is a judgment card. Now you see that the judgment card, now we think of judgment, we think of getting your just desserts, like karma. And actually this card is connected to karma. But if we, change what karma means, action. So what do they call it? The law of action and reaction, or cause and effect, whatever we want to call it. That is kind of like not judgmental towards anyone. It's pretty neutral. It's just saying, that you do one thing and then this is a likely result from it. And it's not trying to condemn anyone. It's just stating the truth about life. So the point is that there could be a new you waiting to be birthed. But in order to do so, you have to be the one to make that, take those steps. And also, for instance, the judgment, if we think of legal judgments, that might be your rebirth. Like if you get divorced, that might be the beginning of the new you. Sometimes people have been with the same individual for years and years, and they don't even remember what it feels like to be alone. When I say alone, I don't mean alone. I mean to be independent. Let's put it that way. Another thing is that there's going to be a final. Well, there's a couple of things I want to say, especially for July. There will be a full moon in Capricorn, but that is not affecting. Oh yeah, now but this is an interesting thing, because like I said, I have Taurus rising, and the full moon that's occurring on July 3rd is actually falling in my 8th house, not my 9th house. I'm a late degree Taurus rising. Okay. So for some of you, it will be in your 8th house. For some of you, it will be in your 9th house, because that is the house that is connected to the sign of Capricorn for Taurus. But the 8th house, sometimes some of these houses have 2 signs in it. So in my particular chart, that's how it is going. You know what I mean? So just keep that in mind, that because I feel like that's the letting go of this old sense of self, from the deepest, darkest regions, because that's what the full moon is all about anyway, that purging effect. But this is even more so, and that leads to a rebirth. And then there's going to be a Taurus lunar eclipse on October 28th later this year, and that's going to be it's going to be in your sign, obviously, but it's only at 5 degrees. So for a lot of people, that will be in the 12th house. You know what I mean? So that is like a massive ending of maybe karma, with the 12th house being engaged for many people. So we'll see. But I just wanted to kind of give you a heads up where this could be going. Not necessarily in the month of July, but, possibly there could be something along those lines too. And then we have the outcome, the Five of Swords, I did pick an additional card because this is very interesting. And I want to direct those of you who feel that this is connected to your workplace situation. To me, when I see this card, I always think of coworkers who are toxic. Okay. This is a card of backbiting, gossip, slander, or, I think of the narcissistic smear campaign too. Um, and this can indicate, what they call flying monkeys. And it's funny because they show those birds. Flying monkeys are people that are associated with a narcissist who can be in your family, they can be in your circle of friends, or let's say the boss is a narcissist and the employees that support this or like sucking up to the boss are the flying monkeys, almost like spies to run back to the narcissist and tell about what's going on with the person who is being, I would say, victimized, being bullied, victimized, or parasited upon, energetically, I mean. And so what this can mean is that you have to be aware of this. I don't like to say things like this because it kind of, brings out paranoia, but really pay attention to the people who are, like, if you're having problems, like let's say you quit your job and then you're getting calls from your former coworkers and they're just, you can tell in their voice, like they're kind of excited, almost like they want to get all the juicy details. And this is because that's what it means to them. It's like this, they're kind of feeding off of the negative energy. So being able to really suss that out and still stay on track is something to keep your mind on and keep and resolve to do so. And then we have the Hierophant. And this is connected to your sign. So it's interesting that I got this as the final card, or the clarification card, I should say. You see that stairway? Sometimes this can be like, I was going to say the ladder, what do they call it? The ladder to success, whatever that term is. But this is a card that, Stairway to Heaven, I mean, is connected to the spiritual, but also to tradition. So if you are married and you're dealing with a lot of negative things, you may really want to work to preserve your marriage. Maybe you go to a marriage counselor to at least give it that last try. Even if that other party doesn't go, you might go just because you want to bounce ideas off of a neutral party before you make such an important decision. And really the Judgment card too is bringing up your judgment into this matter. The Hierophant is also bringing up the issue of conformity. Do you tend to just kind of go along with the program? Maybe that's what is making you think, oh, I can't leave this lifestyle. I'll have to just take this kind of negative treatment, because what would people think if all of a sudden I'm not living in this like trendy neighborhood? So these kinds of things, when you really, and also because it's connected to spiritual path, when you're really on your spiritual path, everything that is superficial starts to fall away. And you no longer care what people think of you, or how they, or how, what kind of like image that you're presenting. Okay, well, that's what I have for you, Taurus. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.